The holidays are here. It's that time of year to think about, yes, gifts, but not only gifts, it's the guests, the parties, and the true meaning of the season. Spending time with family and friends, and the Black Effect is here to assist you and get you locked in for the holiday season. We partnered with Amazon to create the Black Effect Holiday Gift Guide, a curated list with a few of our favorite picks. Holiday mornings in the house are amazing. You know, nothing like waking up and watching the kids, you know, go under that tree and be excited about the things that they got, especially the gifts that are actually intentional, the things that are, you know, from the grandparents or from, you know, the family and friends that know exactly what my children need, you know. Or I know exactly what I need. I know exactly what my wife needs, you know. That is the most amazing thing. And then the cleanup is the worst after it. But honestly, I feel grateful even for the cleanup because I'll be like, damn, all of this mess means that we were truly blessed this holiday season because there was a lot of gifts. Find the best holiday gifts on Amazon. Shop great deals now on Amazon and visit amazon.com/Black Effect Podcast for my favorite picks.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lorna Rosa filling in for Jess. If you're just joining us, we were talking about something Jaleel White said yesterday during an interview, and this is what he said.
Being a part of the TGIF brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of blackness. You know, blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. You know, if it's not a hood story, it's not a black story. You know, sometimes I feel left out of that, you know, so it's like, you know, like if there's ever a poll and they say, oh, what are your favorite black shows? You know, Martin is in there or Living Single or any of those guys. I already know we coming in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high. And so it's kind of interesting in how we look at ourselves, to be quite honest, even as black folks.
So we're asking, what are your thoughts? Let's start with you, Lauren.
I think I put Family Matters in the legacy black shows, and not just because it's I like all the shows I like aren't hood show. Like what happened to Living Single? Like there's a lot of shows that aren't hood stories that they're just good black shows. Like
it's definitely in the legacy black shows, absolutely positively. Now I will say it didn't connect to me like some of the other shows, but it's definitely a legacy show. Like Different World was something that you know was the reason why I wanted to go to Hampton University.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cosby Show was so many things on the Cosby shows that was, you know, that I loved and that I did with my kids, and I see with my father, and just seeing a family on television, a successful family getting money. But Family Matters, I love watching it, but it didn't connect. It's hard for me to remember episodes of Family Matters like I do Different World, or like I do Martin, or like I do Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or like I do The Cosby Show for some reason. I don't know why, but those shows connect more to me than Family Matters did.
I also feel like, why have this conversation now? Because there are a lot of people who
his book just came out. That's why.
Yeah, but like, why bring that in? I don't know. I don't see the point in highlighting that, or maybe, you know, we only got a clip of it, because there's so many people who look at him as like, this is Jaleel White, this is Urkel, this is, you know, like that's a big thing for a lot of people. Like he's recognized through generations, so it's like, why would you take away from that?
Charlamagne?
I would absolutely mention Family Matters as a legacy black show. It is a show from that golden era of 90s black TV, but I highly disagree with what Jaleel's saying about shows having to be hood to connect, because he knows better. He comes from the era of black excellence on TV. You know, he mentioned Martin and Living Single. Those shows he named weren't hood at all. In fact, everyone on those shows had great careers. Martin was a radio personality. Khadijah was the CEO of a magazine. Gina worked for a PR firm. Maxine Shaw was a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Like, so I often ask myself.
Tommy ain't had no job, but.
Tommy didn't have no job, but I often ask myself, how did we go from all the positive black representation of the 90s to the reality TV show, you know, nonsense of the early 2000s? And for me, the reality of Family Matters is, yes, I put it amongst the legacy black shows, but I would probably rank it last among a lot of black shows simply because it's just not as good as those other shows.
Correct.
If you're talking about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
The Cosby Show,
The Cosby Show, Different World,
yeah.
Living Single, I can't say Family Matters is better than any of those shows.
Not at all.
So he's a friend of the room. I know we had a conversation with him, so y'all feel like that's just a cop-out for him not wanting to admit that that show just wasn't as good?
I mean, maybe. What was the question? What was the question?
I don't know.
What was the actual question they asked?
Because let me go look.
Because he was in Delaware, so I mean, he might have been misled. What was the question he was
what?
asked? What was the question you was asking?
No, what did you say before that?
I said he was in Delaware, so he might have been misled.
Go to hell.
Balari.
Lead you there.
Yes. Hello.
Hey, what's up, brother? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I actually think, sorry, first of all, how y'all doing? Y'all good?
Peace, King. How you, brother?
Good, man. Good to talk to y'all. I think Jaleel White actually got a point. I think that we do kind of separate ourselves. Like, we kind of throw those, like, shows like Fresh Prince and Martin into the same category, the ones that seem a little more animated. But, like, shows like The Cosby or, what do you call it?
A Different World?
Family Matters, yeah, Different World. We don't really throw those in there.
That's not true.
I mean, we
I
do
don't know
throw
who
them
you
in
talking
there.
about.
We do throw the Cosby
and
Show
I
in
never
Different
used the
World.
word hood to describe any of those shows.
No, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air never said hood.
He moved away
No, I
from
never
Philly.
said hood. I didn't say hood. I said more animated, like those other shows that are a little more animated. Like
Family Matters was real animated, right?
Who was more animated than Steve Urkel? But
Yeah, he was animated.
Jaleel White used the word hood. He said,
Oh, he said hood. I see.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then maybe I don't agree with him. I don't think it's hood, hood shows. Because we also group in, what do you call it, Girlfriends too, don't we?
Come on now,
Usually
but
when we bringing
see,
up those shows.
that's one of my favorite shows of all time. But see, Girlfriends was the early 2000s. That wasn't the 90s. Jaleel White's actual quote, if it's not a hood story, it's not a black story. I totally disagree with that quote. I totally disagree.
But the only hood, quote unquote, hood story out of a lot of them you named was Fresh Prince, Will Smith leaving Philly, coming in. But that wasn't a hood story.
That wasn't no hood story?
But that was the only thing that was even remotely hood.
I mean, hold on,
that you could say.
wait. Okay. That's not a hood story as
'Cause
in
Cosby
Will
wasn't
Smith
hood.
is
Different
not
World
like
wasn't
a
hood.
bang bang shoot 'em up killer drug dealer, but it is a hood. There's a lot of hood kids from the hood that
left
had
Philly
to
though, yeah.
leave to go be. But that's
But that's the closest to hood.
How
but
many
the rest
kids?
of them not hood.
How many kids from the hood got a rich ass family that they can go live with?
Especially
in that
even
era.
if it's not as rich, it's the nuance of I had to leave my
West
neighborhood to be
Philadelphia,
better.
born and
I had
raised,
to like that.
That's not a hood story though.
That's a hood. That
No,
is.
it's not.
That's
Because
that is
LA
one
was
of
not the hood. There was nothing hood about the
but
Fresh
the
Prince of Bel-Air.
the
But him
overarching
leaving Philly going to,
storyline
but that's
of
the
having
only
to
thing
leave
that's
the hood.
remotely a little bit. But outside of that, none of those other ones are hood. Martin's not hood.
Not even close.
Nah.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air ain't hood.
Nope. Hello, who's this?
Hello?
Hey, what's your name, bro?
It's Rico.
Rico, what's up? Talk to us. What's your thoughts?
I think it's not really our fault. Over the years, I think we've been programmed to relate more to the hood stories rather than like the ordinary family stories and struggles.
I think we missing something per usual.
What?
Let's talk about context. Jaleel White was talking about family matters in the 90s.
Right.
Compared to those other sitcoms that were on, these sitcoms were not hood.
No.
Fresh Prince was not hood. Martin was not hood. Living Single was not hood. Different World was not hood. Cosby Show was not hood. I understand. Let's keep it in the context of the time he's talking about, y'all.
Right.
And what was on TV. Not now in this era.
Well, let's listen to what he had to say, and we'll take your calls when we come back. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Now, if you're just joining us, Lauren LaRosa's filling in for Jess, and we were playing an interview that Jaleel White did out in Delaware. Let's listen.
Being a part of the TGIF brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of blackness. Blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. If it's not a hood story, it's not a black story. Sometimes I feel left out of that. So it's like, like if there's ever a poll and they say, oh, what are your favorite black shows? Martin is in there or Living Single or any of those guys. I already know we coming in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high. And so it's kind of interesting in how we look at ourselves, to be quite honest, even as black folks.
All right.
Yeah, the more I hear it, the more I really disagree, because he said if it's not a hood story, it's not a black story. And I guess what I really disagree with is he came up in an era where there was so much black excellence on TV. Like we talked about Fresh Prince and
Cosby
Martin
Show,
and Living
Martin,
Single and
yeah.
Different World and Cosby. But what about stuff like Rock? Rock was just a hard-working garbage man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You think about stuff like The Parenthood. And The Parenthood, the lead of that show was like a black English professor.
Right.
So those shows weren't centered around hood stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So I highly disagree when he says a black story is a hood story is a black story, however you worded it.
All right, well, let's go to the phone lines. We got Lamar on the line. Lamar, good morning.
Hello?
Hey, what's your thoughts, brother?
Doing good. I'm just doing, man. How you doing?
Good. What you thinking? What's your thoughts?
I'm running the car, man, all the way from Detroit, Michigan, man.
What's happening, brother?
What you think?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Boy, Lamar, man, all the way from Detroit.
We don't want Lamar.
I can't take it
Don't
anymore.
hang up on him. Why you hang up on him?
I can't take it anymore. I asked him 6 times.
Give him a minute. Give him a minute. People give you a minute. We know you slow.
No, I'm not
Damn.
slow. Watch your mouth, because there's a lot of people out there that are slow that probably found that offended.
And you one of them.
I'm not.
And that's y'all offended you got this
they
now?
probably found that what? Envy? They probably found that offensive.
Probably found out they offended. And yeah, that's why we call you slow right there.
Hello, who's this?
Hey, this is Tyler from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, Tyler.
Peace, Tyler.
You better get to how you feel real quick, because Envy is froggy this
What's
morning.
your opinion, Tyler?
My opinion is I want to know where Jaleel got this idea that all those shows are hood. Because from my understanding, Family Matters was based out of Chicago, one of the hoodest places in America. So,
But it was still a middle-class family.
I mean, so was Martin.
That's
Gina
right.
was an executive. Martin worked at a radio station.
That's right.
Living single. Queen Latifah owned a magazine store or everything, So
Maxine was a lawyer. Maxine Shaw, attorney at law.
Exactly. Exactly. So where did this hood mentality for the shows come from?
I have no idea.
Maybe he mixed those
clue.
in and
Thank you,
didn't
bro.
mean to or something. Maybe he just meant like in general at that time. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
And now he couldn't have meant in that time. Because at that time, it was black excellence.
Yeah.
Every 90s person that comes up here, I asked them the same question. What happened
What was
in
the shift?
Hollywood that there was a shift from that type of representation, right? And the way the characters, the way they were depicted, to just the 2000 reality show nothingness era.
But I was thinking, well, maybe movies, but there was a little bit of everything in the movie world during that time, right? Because you had Love and Basketball, you had Menace to Society, you had Boys in the Hood, but then you had a little bit of both.
But you also got to remember, movies like Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, Juice, they served a purpose. They were showing us the consequences
also had Brown
of street
Sugar.
life.
Yeah, Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar was early
Basketball.
2000s. Yeah.
Hello, who's this? Hello, who's this?
This Yogi.
Hey, Yogi, what's your thoughts?
Happy Tuesday.
Happy
Good morning.
Tuesday. Good morning.
I think that Jaleel White been wearing the suspenders and them tight pants for a little bit too long because he's stripping. Family Matters is definitely black. Like, one thing I liked about you, Envy, is that little them shows and all the little theme songs you be playing. That represents blackness.
Well, y'all not supposed to be hearing those theme songs, but all right.
I mean, but you show, how black we are, and that's not monolith.
Right.
Like, all the different shows and how black we are, there's so many different things in that collective.
That's right. Where you calling from?
Oh, I'm a New Yorker, but I'm trapped in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
What station you on in North Carolina? Are you listening on the iHeartRadio app?
Oh, I listen to you guys on Arce because some of the radio stations we work in to have y'all out.
Got you. Okay.
All right, well,
I
thank
mean,
you.
You're welcome.
All righty, man. Now, what's
Yeah, you're not supposed to get a TV theme song. Go play during commercial.
You
That's
hear
why.
TV themes, you're not supposed to.
The moral story is hood does not equate to black. Okay, and black definitely does not equate to hood. All right, black people are not monolithic in any way but form, and that's why I love the '90s so much, because if you watched any show on the '90s, it made you want to do something with your life. Like I said, we always talk about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Martin and Living Single, Cosby Show, Different World. What about shows like Rock? Rock was a garbage man. Like the Parenthood, the guy was a black English professor. On Family Matters, Carl Winslow was a cop.
Right.
So, I don't know.
All right.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.